The economic system under which we live takes its form from an endless variety of daily business transactions. Different from anything in the past, different from that of other lands, the economy of a democracy is based not only on the needs of the people it serves, but also on their wants and their desires. In such an economy, the function of selling is of major importance. For selling not only helps to fill our needs, but also through its creation of new wants and desires, constantly urges the standard of living higher and higher. Selling as we know it can exist only where there is freedom of choice, a freedom we take for granted from earliest childhood. Yes, freedom of choice, freedom to decide whether, when, what, and which to buy or not to buy, this is one of the foundations of a democratic economic structure. The buyer is all important in a free economy. He determines its course by constantly voting in the marketplace for the products of his choice. That product may be a can of food or a railroad car. Whatever it is, it continues to be in the market only if people continue to buy it. Just as the office seeker in a democracy must strive to win the votes of the people, so must the products in a free economy compete for the buyer's preferences by presenting their benefits to the customers. It is the salesman's job to bring these advantages to the prospective buyer's attention. Effective selling takes many forms. Some of it is non-personal, where no salesman is present. The selling done through mail-order catalogs is one example. Here, the description of a product sells the customer. Non-personal selling is done through coupons in magazine and newspaper ads. The supermarket grocery is an example of self-service selling. And it seems that nowadays one can get almost anything from a vending machine. But the bulk of selling is personal selling, with the salesman offering an essential service to his customers. He provides knowledge and information geared to their specific needs and wants, and through persuasion, he increases the use of products by the public.
I suggest that you get 2 pairs of the same color. That way you won't have an odd one to discard, and you'll save money.
We've made a fact-finding study of your production problem. And by using these larger and faster hydraulic presses, you can cut your cost 9 1/4 cents per unit. And that's a saving you can pass on to your customers.
To sum up, this policy offers a means of greater security to your family. If anything happens to you, your wife is guaranteed an income.
We're reducing the price on this item because of unseasonable weather. We don't want to carry it through the winter. It'll make a real extra value for your customers.
You'll notice that these new suds are completely dry. Now watch the difference in appearance right here on your own chair.
This electric typewriter is designed to require less effort. It ought to increase the efficiency of your department by at least 30%.
Here's a new type plastic with a special fiber content. It will add more life to your product.
Here's a sample of a new form of penicillin, Doctor.
Oh, yes, I read about this in the journal.
If you'll ship in carload lots, we'll route around the heavy traffic points and save your customers half a day.
Thus, day in and day out, through the whole complex structure of business activity, salesmen of every type are at work, analyzing customer needs, giving information about their products, and creating an interest and a desire for new products. The modern salesman, aware of his responsibilities to his customers as well as to his company, performs a service to both. And through creative salesmanship, he performs a service to the public, too. But is selling really necessary? Wouldn't the standard of living continue to rise without the efforts of selling and salesmen? Well, let's look back at our world a few years ago.
And it gives off more light than a mantle.
Yes, but how long will one of these bulbs last?
Longer than a mantle. That little filament glows in a vacuum, keeps it from burning up.
Doesn't seem possible.
And with electricity, you'll have more light for filling out your prescription.
Oh, I carry this lamp with me wherever I go. It gives good enough light.
I don't know. My horse goes fast enough for me. Why, with a car like this, you can have the pleasure of going into town every month. I got too much work to do to go gallivanting into town that often.
No water pan to empty and no cake of ice to melt. Your food keeps longer and stays fresher and crisper.
Yes, but how can it stay cold without ice? It just doesn't seem possible.
Yes, the luxuries of yesterday have become today's necessities through creative selling. Salesmen calling on customers have been responsible for the creation of wants and desires which did not exist before. Through billions of individual sales, markets have become larger, production costs less, prices lower to the consumer. Thus, the salesman, aided by advertising, helps pave the way for a better standard of living. Today, through mass production and the selling activities of salesmen, millions of people drive, and other millions have jobs in fields directly connected with the automotive industry, to which many countries contribute material. Because salesmen were able to sell the use of electricity, today millions are employed in the electrical industry, and the face of our world has been changed. Recognizing this, modern business, both large and small, usually places its chief sales executive in a top management capacity. In many companies, this executive is the vice president of sales, who is responsible for sales policy. Reporting to him is the sales manager, who has direct charge of the sales force. Related sales activities such as advertising, marketing research, and customer service also report to the vice president of sales so that all work together as a team. Yet even before these men go to work on a product, a great deal of selling has already been done. Originally, an idea had to be sold.
And for another thing, this machine can spin dry the clothes without their being lifted out.
I see. Some of our salesmen's reports have suggested that feature.
And even more important than that is that this design makes possible a completely automatic washing machine, controlled by timing switches.
That's quite an engineering problem. Let's take a look at these drawings of yours again.
It may not have happened just this way, but like every new product, the automatic washing machine had first to be sold to an organization which could develop, produce, and market it. Within that organization, the engineering department had to be sold on designing the new product to suit customer desires. Production had to be sold on producing the machine at the lowest possible cost. Purchasing had to be sold on the need for obtaining parts and supplies at the best prices. The sales department had to be sold on the idea that dealers would handle the new machine and that people would buy it. The finance department had to be sold on the belief that the investment would make a profit for the company and its stockholders. All these selling jobs, backed up by research, are necessary before any new product can be made ready for the market. Then another phase of selling begins.
From an engineering viewpoint, we're ready to go ahead. We have tested this newest model in the laboratory and in consumer homes, and it's satisfactory in every way.
What about the sales forecast, Ed? Well, Lord and I have been over the market research figures. They show that there are about 5 million potential customers.
And you can add to that at least 250,000 new homes each year.
Figuring our price and the problems of educating our distributors, dealers, and salesmen on this new machine, and the servicing problems we may run into, we put our first year's forecast at about 40,000. How about it, Walt? Can you build as many as Ed and Lloyd say they can sell?
Well, we'll have to add about 200,000 square feet to our present factory space. If we can do that, I think we can build them.
What about the working force?
Well, personnel's making plans now to get us the skilled men that we need. We'll get them somehow. Frank's been checking into the problems of purchasing. We have sources lined up now for steel, copper, glass, and rubber. We're working on the others. If Ed and Lloyd can sell them, we can build them.
Good. What about the report on financing?
I've been talking with the bank about the terms of a loan for new equipment and capital. We're going to need about $3 million.
So tooling up for the new washing machine was begun. Following this, the vice president of sales, together with the sales manager and the managers of advertising and marketing research, started work on the sales campaign.
Well, these are the answers that housewives gave about what they disliked most about wash day. 1, lifting wet clothes. 2, cleaning out the wash.
The salesman's reports of customer wants, together with questionnaire surveys, were valuable in determining which sales appeals would be most effective.
That third objection, the whole idea of wash day, that's our main sales appeal. Our machine eliminates the whole idea of wash day. Hands never touch water.
Well, let's take those objections in order. Lifting wet clothes got the most answers. On that point, we can develop a very effective sales program.
Once policy had been set, it was up to the sales staff to work out the complete sales campaign. In this company, there were 3 regional managers in charge of eastern, central, and western regions of the country. For each regional manager, there were several district managers, each of whom supervised a number of salesmen. A meeting of the regional and district managers was the starting point for the sales campaign. There, the new machine was unveiled.
Remember what that market survey showed. A survey based on interviews with more than 10,000 housewives. We know that there are 5.25 million potential customers for this machine. And in the next 10 years, almost every home in the country should be a potential customer. Now, we've gone over it in detail. Once again, take a look at this machine. Check it, point by point, against the housewife's own expressed wants. And remember this always. This machine is completely new. It's the first of its kind. Now, man, let's have your questions.
Will we market through our usual wholesalers?
Yes, except that this year we'll have to limit our outlets. We're going to have a session on that this afternoon.
What material will we have to show the housewife what this means to her?
We've worked out a campaign that's really going to get our new product across. National advertising, direct mail, dealer displays. Not only that, but we're planning to have demonstrations to women's organizations in key cities.
Thus, the sales executives analyzed the many problems of marketing the new product, such as the types of wholesale and retail outlets to use, and the quotas to assign the salesman. Each of the district managers in this meeting had under him a staff of salesmen who called on wholesalers. They had to be familiar with the wholesalers' problems, problems of warehousing, installation and servicing, problems of inventory. In turn, the salesman who called on the retailer had to know how to help the retailer sell the product, satisfy his customers, and at the same time make a reasonable profit.
It's another washing machine, isn't it?
No, it's entirely new and will outsell anything else in the field. It's the first of its kind, an automatic washing machine.
But I don't have enough floor space to put in another line.
Oh, this isn't another line, Mr. Patterson. That's just one basic model. Surely you have enough space for just one machine that will help bring in new business for you.
It's automatic, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if my clerks will be able to figure it out.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. When I bring in your sample, I'll personally train each one of your clerks. What's more, we have a presentation to help guide your clerks. They can't go wrong. You see, here's how it works.
Thus, selling may call for much more than making a sale. It often includes personal service to the retailer, helping him in every way that may be necessary to keep his stock moving.
And to help you introduce to this machine, we're running a national advertising campaign reaching potential customers right in their homes, suggesting that they come to your store to see this machine demonstrated. And here's a decal to tie in with those ads. And these are folders and bulletins for your customers with your name imprinted. And these are radio scripts and mats for your local advertising. The housewife is going to have to come to your store to see this machine demonstrated. And you should average at least 5 demonstrations a day.
And so the new product was launched through a long series of selling processes. Everything was focused on one point, the housewife, who had to be convinced that this new machine would be of real service to her.
It must be complicated to be automatic like that. Won't it go out of order easily?
No, ma'am. It's really worked out quite simply. And there's a year's service guarantee that goes with it.
Oh, I'm afraid it costs too much.
But look at the back-breaking work it saves. Just set the dial and that's all.
It doesn't look as if this little cylinder would get the clothes clean.
It's been thoroughly tested in consumer homes.
Can you adjust the water temperature?
Yes, ma'am. It washes either hot or warm. We just turn this little pointer.
Then you pour soap into this little hole, and that's all there is to it. No lifting of wet clothes from one tub to another.
Uses less soap. Just set the dial. Gentle washing action. Washes warm or hot. Completely automatic. Completely automatic.
Completely automatic. The new washing machine sold well that first year. Now the second year's plans had to be made. How many would be produced? The key to this question was still another question which faces all manufacturers in a competitive enterprise system. How many can we sell?
Lord and I have been over this very carefully. He's talked to our regional managers, and they've checked with their district managers and their salesmen and dealers, and we believe that we can increase our sales quota this year by a third.
That's right. Our first year is going well. We're about 9% above quota right now.
This coming year, we're going to have stronger competition, you know. Two other concerns are bringing out automatic machines.
Well, fair competition is a good thing for all of us. Gets more people acquainted with our type of product. Keeps you fellas in engineering and production and sales on your toes, and gives the customer a better product for less money.
We're going to have to push to meet our new quota. It'll depend in part on how soon we get our new model on the market.
What about it, Walt? Well, we're retooling for the design changes now. We'll supply demonstration machines in plenty of time. What about the increased quota? Can you increase production to match? Well, it'll mean increasing our skilled production force, buying 2 new presses, and getting additional warehouse space. Let's see the setup of your sales quota on a monthly basis.
Thus, the sales department, working as a team with other departments of the company, developed a creative selling program to launch a new product. This new product found its beginning in a public need, a need recognized and reported by salesmen calling on dealers in touch daily with the public. And while we have illustrated a selling program developed by a large company with large resources, similar programs have been developed by thousands of smaller companies and by countless individuals with a good product or service, usually starting in one community, one state, or one market at a time. The work of every salesman, whether he realizes it or not, affects the whole business structure, for the salesman sells far more than his particular product. He is selling an increase in the standard of living. In a democratic society based on freedom of choice and dedicated to a better living standard for everyone, there must be selling on a large scale if we are to maintain mass production. For until it is sold, no product has any business value, nor can it have any effect on raising the standard of living. Thus, the salesman is the spark plug in a competitive economy. In creating sales, he helps to create jobs for millions of people on the production lines, and among the 15 million who work in the selling and distribution of goods and services. The salesman in the store, the insurance salesman who sells an intangible investment, the salesman who calls on the retailer, the freight salesman who sells a service, the salesman of raw materials, the manufacturer's representative, the sales engineer, all in their different jobs are tremendously important in helping to maintain employment and to build up the ever-increasing flow of goods, which is the lifeblood of a dynamic economic system.